I used to think something was wrong with me. I'd spend hours scrubbing, wiping, organizing, and still, my home felt heavy, not dirty, just loud. Drawers bursting, counters cluttered, and every step reminded me, no matter how hard I cleaned, it was never enough. But then, in the quiet corner of Kyoto, I stepped into a 600 square foot home. No fancy gadgets, no overpowering scents, just stillness. The air felt different. The walls didn't press in. And the woman who lived there smiled and said 6 words that rewired everything I believed. We don't clean harder. We clean smarter. That week changed my life because what I discovered wasn't just a way to tidy my house. It was a way to reclaim my peace. In the next few minutes, I'll show you the 15 life-changing habits I learned from Japan. They're simple. They're powerful. And they may just be the missing link between your chaos and your calm. So take a breath, let go of the guilt, and let's begin. Not with more effort, but with a better way to live. There was a time I thought I was just messy. I'd wake up early, determined to finally get the house under control. I'd vacuum, mop, declutter, wipe down every surface, and for a few minutes it felt good. But by evening, the counters were full again. The floor had crumbs, and something inside me whispered, "It shouldn't feel this hard." Maybe you felt it too. That invisible weight of a home that's technically clean, but never feels peaceful. Not dirty, just disorganized, not chaotic, but somehow never calm. I remember one afternoon standing in my kitchen. There were 3 different sprays on the counter, a sponge soaking in the sink. Paper towels, half unraveled, dangling like a flag of surrender. I had spent nearly 2 hours cleaning that morning, but the space still buzzed with noise. That's when I realized I wasn't cleaning wrong. I was thinking about clean the wrong way. See, most of us weren't taught how to clean. We were taught how to react. You spill, you wipe. Dust builds up, you sweep. Dishes pile, you scrub. But we were never taught systems. We weren't taught prevention. We learned how to chase the mess, not how to design it out of our lives. And that kind of living, it wears on you. Because no matter how much energy you pour in, the chaos always comes back. But what if clean isn't about chasing? What if it's about creating a space that doesn't fight back? I didn't know a house could breathe until I stepped into that little home in Kyoto, 600 square feet. Smaller than my garage back home, no walk-in closet, no storage room, just a front door, a narrow hallway, and light spilling through rice paper screens. And yet, it felt bigger than any house I'd ever lived in. There were no piles of things waiting to be put away. No chemical smell of bleach or lemon-scented sprays, just clean wood, soft light, and silence. The kind of silence that doesn't feel empty. It feels alive. I met the woman who owned the home, a retired teacher with gentle eyes and slower movements. I asked her how she kept her space so immaculate. She smiled, shrugged slightly, and said, "We don't clean harder. We clean smarter." I'll never forget that moment, because up until then, I believed that a clean home was a result of effort, scrubbing, polishing, sorting. But she showed me a new kind of logic. Your home isn't just a space. It's a system. Every drawer, every tile, every towel had a place and a purpose. Not just to look good, but to make life flow. Her kitchen had no junk drawer, because there was no junk. Her bathroom had no bottle clutter, because everything rested on a tray, lifted off the counter. That home didn't just look clean, it felt clean, as if the house itself had been designed for peace. And standing in that quiet little sanctuary, I thought, maybe I don't need more space. Maybe I need less resistance. I first heard the word Kaizen in a train station in Kyoto. A janitor, probably in his 60s, was on his knees wiping the base of a vending machine. Not the buttons, not the display, the base, the part no one sees. I leaned over and whispered to a local nearby, Why is he cleaning there? They answered simply, he's not cleaning for now, he's cleaning so it stays clean later. That's Kaizen, a philosophy born in Japanese factories, but practiced in nearly every Japanese home. It means continuous improvement. Tiny acts, done consistently, that build a better system over time. Not once a month, not once a week, every day, without thinking. And here's where it gets powerful. Each of these micro movements takes less than 10 seconds. Wiping the sink after brushing your teeth, folding the blanket as you get out of bed, rinsing a dish the moment you set it down. Individually, they feel like nothing. But together, they form a rhythm, a ritual, a reprogramming of the mind. A 2024 study from Tokyo University found that people who practiced Kaizen-style cleaning spent 40% less time cleaning per week, yet their home stayed consistently cleaner than those who deep cleaned once a week. Why? Because Kaizen changes the brain. Every time you complete a small task, your brain releases dopamine, that tiny reward that says, "Order feels good, let's do that again." And suddenly, wiping the sink isn't a chore. It's a choice, a tiny moment of care, not just for your home, but for your peace of mind. When I got home, I started small, just 5 minutes a day. At first, I had to set a timer, but within a week, I didn't need it anymore. Now I wipe the counters without thinking, not because they're dirty, but because I'm different. Let's be honest, most of us don't clean to stay clean. We clean to recover, to catch up, to erase the evidence of a life that moves too fast. We wait until the clutter screams, until the crumbs stick, until the smell reminds us, you should have done this yesterday. And when we finally do clean, we come armed, disinfecting sprays, bleach wipes, fragrant chemicals in fancy bottles. We buy storage bins to organize what we don't really need. We buy plastic trays to control chaos we created. We spend hours managing, but not preventing. And here's the hard truth. Western cleaning is often just rearranged mess. Air fresheners that mask smells instead of eliminating the cause. Vacuuming rugs that trap dust by design. Wiping counters made of porous materials that were never meant to stay clean. It's like trying to mop the floor while the faucet is still running. We're reacting, always chasing. And that endless loop of effort without peace is what's silently draining us. In Japan, cleaning isn't about appearances. It's about systems. It's baked into the design of life. Their homes aren't spotless because they clean more. They're spotless because they clean less, but better. Every drawer closes softly. Every surface resists grime. Every tool is made to work with your habits, not against them. I realized my Western mindset wasn't the solution, it was the source. I didn't need more bins, I needed less stuff. I didn't need more effort, I needed smarter design. In the West, we have spring cleaning, a task, a to-do list, something we procrastinate until we can't ignore it anymore. But in Japan, they have osoji, and it's not just cleaning, it's a cleansing. Every December, families open every window, even in the cold, and clean from ceiling vents to floor seams. Tatami mats are lifted, drawers emptied, doors scrubbed with care. And it's not just adults. School children wipe down their own desks. Elders polish family altars. The entire country, in unison, resets. Why? Because osoji isn't about dust. It's about renewal. A 2023 study from Kyoto University found that homes practicing osoji reduced indoor air pollutants by 40%. But more powerful than the science was the sentiment. Families reported higher life satisfaction and lower stress. Because when you clean with intention, you're not just clearing space, you're clearing memory, tension, regret, residue of a year lived fully. I remember my first osoji. I started with the windows. Outside, the snow had just begun to fall, and as I wiped the glass, I felt like I was wiping away more than smudges. I was letting go of overwhelm, of guilt, of everything I thought I had to carry into the new year. In Japan, they have a word, kokoro. It means heart, mind, and spirit, all in one. That's what cleaning touches there, not just the floor, but your kokoro. Some families light incense before they clean. Others bow to the room they're about to care for, not out of superstition, but respect. Because when you respect your space begins to respect you back. It started with a yogurt cup. I stood over the trash can, foil lid in one hand, plastic cup in the other, and I froze. Which one goes where? Recycle? Trash? Does it even matter? Back home, I would have just tossed them both. But in Japan, that moment becomes a mirror. In towns like Kamikatsu, families sort their waste into 45 different categories. Yes, 45. Plastic bottles, one bin, their caps, another. Food waste, metal tabs, lined paper, batteries, even broken chopsticks have their own place. At first, it felt excessive, like a system built to shame you. But then I saw it differently. It wasn't about guilt, it was about intention. When you're forced to slow down, to look at what you're discarding, you begin to question the purchase that created it. That takeout container, that individually wrapped snack, that plastic thing you bought on a whim and never used. Trash becomes data, a record of your decisions, your patterns, your impulses. And once you see it that way, you can't unsee it. Japan now recycles over 84% of its household waste, the highest rate in the developed world. But more impressive than the numbers is the mindset, because when every toss requires a choice, you start making better ones. I remember watching a family of 4 quietly sort their trash after dinner. No complaints, no grumbling, just presence. That's when it clicked. Cleaning isn't about removing mess, it's about revealing meaning. Now, back home, I don't have 45 bins. I have 4. But even that is enough to remind me. Every toss is a moment to pause. And that pause, that tiny breath of mindfulness, it's where better living begins. In America, we build out bigger closets, deeper garages, more square footage, because we believe more space means more peace. But in Japan, they build inward, not because they have to, but because it creates something money can't buy. Flow. The average Japanese apartment? Just under 700 square feet for a family of 4. No walk-in closets, no storage sheds. And yet, nothing feels cramped. Why? Because every inch has a job, and often that job is to disappear. Let me introduce you to what I call origami architecture. Sliding doors instead of swinging ones. Drawers nested under stairs. Beds that lift to reveal storage below. Even compartments inside the floorboards, like secret treasure chests for winter clothes and linens. No bulky bins. No cabinet doors flung open into walkways. Just stillness. Movement without interruption. A 2024 Panasonic study found that homes using sliding systems reduced obstruction zones by 25% and increased usable closet space by nearly 40%. But the real impact? Peace of movement. You walk through your home without dodging clutter, without slamming drawers, without being reminded at every turn of the chaos you meant to clean up later. It's not just aesthetic, it's psychological. When your environment moves with you, you move differently, more calmly, more gently, more present. When I came home from Japan, I looked at my hallway closet, doors wide open, shoes spilling out like an avalanche, and I thought, what if this wasn't just storage? What if this was design? Now, with a few sliding panels and low-profile bins, my home doesn't just look better. It feels like it's on my side. Because in the end, the smartest home isn't the one with the most space. It's the one that gives you the most peace. I used to think peace came from big changes. A new house, a better job, a cleaner calendar. But Japan taught me something simpler. Peace begins with a single drawer, with the way you fold a towel, with the way you pause before tossing something in the trash, with the way you treat your home, not as a project, but as a partner. Because here's the truth. You don't need to overhaul your life. You don't need 45 bins, sliding floors, or silver-threaded towels. You just need one habit, one quiet shift in how you move through your space. Maybe it's wiping the sink after brushing your teeth. Maybe it's folding the blanket before you leave the room. Maybe it's placing a small tray under your toothbrush. Tiny acts, insignificant, until they're not. Because these aren't just habits, they're votes. Each one says, this space matters. I matter. And over time, those votes add up. They build a rhythm, a calm, a home that doesn't fight you, but flows with you. So if anything in this video made your shoulders drop just a little, if one idea gave you even a breath of relief, try it. Try just one habit for 1 week. And if your mornings feel lighter, if your evenings feel quieter, come back and tell us. Leave a comment. Share what shifted. Because sometimes the difference between chaos and calm is just one gentle habit away.